Jerusalem, son of Jerusalem. Mashiach Spalal, Matthew 6, verse 9. Abanawa, Shabashmaya, Kadash, Aya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Zaka, Aya, Asha, Baratisa, Bashmaya, Tanlanawa, Kal, Yawam, Wasalak, Kabawat, Wasalak, Kabawat, Yanawa, Wala, Tabaya, Anawa, Anasayawan, Abal, Man, Right, Kaya, Laka, Hamalak, Wahala, Ayalam, Mashiach,
the water, Aman. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom. Salah. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashem Hamashiach Yehoshai, the water of Yad, Amen.
Amen. Yashabim. You see it. Shabbat Shalom Yasharana. Our praise to the Most High by Shamash Yahushua, the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And on the Shabbat day, we instantly come together in the holy convocation as for the covenant that he made with our fathers. I am Elder Bishop Lapalal, and to my left is
Shalom Yasharullah, Captain Aliyah.
God, and we are the Light of Zion, located down here in South Florida, Broward County, 2937 West Broad Boulevard. And as you all know, the Passover is upon us. That's for the Most High, coming first. Fast and furious coming upon us. But what the Most High say? It's a high holiday which we should celebrate throughout our generations, regardless of where our location. I said we got to search for the path of our forefathers. And I said the Passover is a commemoration of us departing out of Egypt. Egypt, where the Most High ordained it that we as Hebrew Israelites, the nation of Israel was to be organized and formed into a nation. This should also let you know that where you were born doesn't determine your nationality necessarily. I mean, according to the Most High. Your nationality is based upon what? Your ancestry, your lineage that you came from. Because the Most High deal with that us, Hebrew Israelites, as a nation of people, was to be born in a land that wasn't even ours. The land that the Most High designated that we should be a nation in wasn't our homeland that the Most High prepared for us. Because the Most High prepared a homeland for us before we were even a nation. That's how much the Most High, that's how much the Most High had us in his consciousness, in his thought. That's how much love the Most High had for us. The Most High prepared a place for us before we were even a nation.
That's true.
Are we going to prove that? Before we go there, we'll get on one. Colossians 3:17.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Hamashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to the Most High and the Abba by Him.
Right, whatever you do in word or deed, with this going on, what the words put out of your mouth, or the action that you partake in, make sure they're consistent with the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, and the teaching of the Mashiach Yahushua. Understand that we should not deviate from that for any reason. Give me Jeremiah 6:16. As a matter of fact, give me Job 8:8.
This is the book of Job.
Go back. Go way back. Job 8:8. Yeah.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
For inquire, I pray thee, for the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Right. Prepare thyself. Inquire, the Most High said, of the former age, previous time, previous generations. And inquire of what? Previous generations, or fathers. Read it again now.
Job chapter 8 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
For inquire, I pray thee.
Inquire, meaning what? Do an investigation. Read on.
I pray thee
Mm-hmm.
of the former age.
Of the former age, what? Previous generation. Read on.
And prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
And prepare yourself for the search of our forefathers. Read on.
For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing.
Right, we are but of yesterday and know nothing. So we got to inquire what our where we came from, our ancestry, our lineage, our history, our culture, where we came from. You know? Give me also Jeremiah 6:16.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6 and verse 16. Thus saith Yahweh, stand ye in the ways and see.
Stand in the ways when the Bible just reflect on history. Even in your mind is the ways. Just meditate. I'm trying to reconsider. Read on.
And see and ask for the old paths.
Ask for the old path. How was it back in the days? What kind of relationship our forefathers had with the Most High? How did the Most High deal with our nation? Because right now we consider about what? We alienated from the Commonwealth of Israel. Being scattered through the four corners of the earth. Following the ways of the other nations with the doctrine, the religion, the customs, all that. Read on.
And ask for the old paths.
Ask for the old path.
Where is the good way? And walk therein.
Where's the good way? What's the good way? Mean what? The way that connects you to your heritage. The way that connects you to the Most High. And we're not talking literally, of course. We're talking spiritually. The spiritual path. Read on.
And walk therein.
And walk therein. Read on.
And ye shall find rest for your souls.
You shall find rest because we're not going to find rest until you know who we are as a people, where we came from, and the relationship that we had with the Most High. Give me also Romans 15:4.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Right. So whatever was written aforetime in the scriptures was written for our learning. Go back and search out, see our relationship we have with the Most High, where we came from. All that is going to give us hope. Understand? Because you don't know where you're going until you know where you came from. Get me Deuteronomy 32 verse 8. I was saying that what? The Most High, before we were even a nation, had a place prepared for us. Deuteronomy 32 verse 8.
Oh, 32. Okay.
32 verse 8. Deuteronomy.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
The Most High divided to the nations their inheritance. Because the Most High, what is Most High talking about? The Most High created all different nations on this earth, right? But all those different nations are their own respective territories. This nation was given this land, that land, so on and so forth. All the different nations of this earth was given their own territory, their own borderline, their own geographical location. Read on.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
When he was separated, the Most High did not mean for us to be united. And that's what's up. Let me see what. Read on.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
The Most High set the boundaries, the borderlines of the different nations according to the people of the nation of Israel. Read the last precept again.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So the Most High, knowing the size of the nation of Israel, okay, set the borderline or the boundaries of the territories of the other nations based on what? The size of the nation of Israel, the population of the nation of Israel. And Israel, as we're going to see, was the last nation to be formed. There were all other nations were on their respective territories, the borderlines and all that, before we were even a nation of people. So that's how much the Most High loved us. The Most High said, hey, you're going to be over here. This nation's going to be over here. But this land right here, even though you're in it right now, is actually reserved for the people of the nation of Israel. All right. Give me also Genesis 15 and verse 13.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a certainty that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
That's what the Most High said to Abraham. Not to Abraham because his name wasn't changed to Abraham yet. It was just Abraham at that time. And the Most High said to him what? Know of a certainty that thy seed shall be what? Read it again.
Know of a certainty that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
The Most High said to Abraham to know of a certainty that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. So the Most High will let Abraham know, yeah, your descendants are going to be in a land that belongs to another nation of people. That's when Abraham was inquiring the Most High, what do you have for me? I ain't got no seed yet. I don't even have any children yet. And Most High said, well, yeah, don't worry about it. I got you. You're going to have a child in the old age. Sarah shall bring forth the child in her old age. And that seed that comes from you is going to, the chosen seed is going to be a nation of people in a land that is not theirs. Read on.
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
So as a prophecy of the Most High That's what the Most High scripted it. Obviously, Abraham's seed wasn't even born yet, but the Most High was telling him exactly what was going to happen. That his seed was going to serve a nation for 400 years. Yeah. That's kind of sounds weird. Friend, because the Most High called Abraham his friend, right? And you're going to have my seed serving another nation for 400 years in a land that is not theirs? And that's people want to talk about, it's all love. And look what the Most High did to somebody's own friend. That's just how the Most High scripted it, right? Read on.
14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance.
Yeah. That nation whom they shall serve, the Most High is going to what? Judge that nation. You know what? Punish them. Judge them on what? Like a trial, so to speak. You have a trial, then hey, you're guilty of this, you're guilty of that, and hey, this is going to be your punishment for this transgression, for this violation. And then what shall come up with great substance. So that's what the Most High scripted it. That they should be a nation, and then in a land that was not theirs, and then come out with great substance as a people. Where you got?
Psalms chapter 53, verse 6.
Where you got? Psalm 53, verse 6.
I got you.
Psalms 53, verse 6.
Come.
Read it.
Hallelujah. Psalms chapter 53 and verse 6. Salakia. Oh, that the salvation of Israel were come out of Zion, when Yahweh bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Even right now we're in captivity. We got to come out of this captivity. It's like modern day Egypt. Just like we were in captivity in Egypt for 400 years. We came out with great substance. And we were glad. And we're going to be glad again when we come out of this captivity with great substance.
Hallelujah.
Understand? Because right now we're going through the so-called modern day Egypt. Land for captivity, where the other nations are ruling over us.
Right.
Okay. You give me Exodus 1, verse 1. The birth of a nation. So we're going to focus on how Abraham's seed that the Most High said was going to be a stranger in a land that was not theirs for 400 years. How that manifested. How that came into fruition, so to speak. Exodus 1.
Exodus.
Because Abraham had a son, Abraham had children, right? He had first son was Ishmael. Then he had Isaac. But the Most High chose Isaac. Understand? To continue the lineage from which the chosen nation was going to come. Isaac, we know, got Jacob and Esau. Jacob was going to be the nation that the Most High chose. That nation, the same nation was going to be the stranger, going to be the stranger that's going to be the nation in the land that was not theirs. Exodus 1, verse 1.
Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt.
The children of Israel, that's Jacob's name. Jacob's name was changed to Israel when he wrestled with an angel and prevailed. So the Most High is about to name the children of the children of Israel. Read on.
Every man.
Read
From the top?
Yeah.
Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
Right, so 70 souls came along at that point in time, going into Egypt. Understand? 70 souls came under the loins of Jacob. He only had 12 sons, but the sons also had children. Okay? So these are all the descendants of Jacob. At that point in time, we're talking about the era of time was 1880 BC. 1880 BC. Understand? That's when Jacob and the 70 souls went down into Egypt, because Joseph was already in Egypt. You know?
Verse 6. And Joseph died, and all his brethren in all that generation. And all the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them.
See that? This is a fulfillment of prophecy that the Most High made to Abraham. To Abraham. Know for certainty that your seed shall be a stranger in the land that is not theirs, and shall serve them 400 years. This is the beginning of the fulfillment of the prophecy. The 70 souls that came out of Jacob's loins, going into Egypt, and there multiplying and becoming a nation, and gradually becoming a large nation subsequently. And that which I started in 1880. Now get me how long were they in Egypt? Give me Exodus 12 verse 40. The birth of a nation, so focus. Water.
Exodus, 12.
12 verse 40.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 40.
You see, I'm just summarizing, how we became a nation in Egypt, because we have, Passover is coming up, in a week or so. Passover is coming up, so we know the Passover is what? Our departure from Egypt. So I want to give you an idea, of how we came to be in Egypt to begin with. Understand? And the circumstances there and how we got out. Okay, Exodus 12 verse 40.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel.
Read it again. It's sojourning.
Now the sojourning.
Sojourning, meaning what? You're living in there. Read it again.
Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
That's how long we were in Egypt, 430 years. But the Most High told Abraham that what? They were going to be in captivity for 400 years, but they were there for a while, like 30 years or so, before they started oppressing us. Because remember that Joseph was a very respected person in Egypt. He found favor in Pharaoh's eyes and the Egyptian people's eyes. So, so we were well treated until we became numerous, and they started suspecting us. You know what I mean? This guy right now, that's why they're oppressing us so much in America, man. Because we're numerous, they try to say that they're minorities. You have all the 12 tribes right in America, but we don't even know we're the same people. The 12 people divided, and even we grow and multiply, because they fear us, because they know what they did to us historically, and they know that, hey, we have that in the back of our minds. Hey, those are our oppressors. So they can't, but they can't oppress us forever. Just like the Egyptians couldn't oppress us forever, the most had a number on it. The most had a number. Yeah. Understand this. When the Mosai puts you in captivity, the Mosai has a number of how long we're going to be in that captivity. He told Abraham they're going to be in captivity for 400 years. Give me Jeremiah 29:10. Generation later on, when the Mosai said, what, you're going to go to Babylon? The Mosai told us in advance how long we're going to be in Babylon. Jeremiah 29:10.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29 and verse 10. For thus saith Yahweh,
This is the Mosai, read on.
that after 70 years be accomplished, at Babylon I will visit you.
See that? So the Mosai has it in mind. How long we're going to be in captivity. And after that number is accomplished, the Mosai will visit us and redeem us. And the Mosai never it's not neglecting us. Understand? So that was about 600 BC. Generation later on, of course. The Mosai said, what? We're going to be there for 70 years. Even though the scripture didn't say specifically this time how long we're going to be in this modern day Babylon or this modern day Egypt, the Mosai knows. That's why the scripture said no one knows the time, right? No one knows the time.
No one.
Even Yahweh shall know the time. This time the Mosai, but Mosai knows the time. Go ahead.
Mark 13:32. Mark 13:32.
Give me that. Mark 13:32.
Bring it out.
This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 32. But of that day and that hour.
What day? The day when the Mashiach Yahushua is going to come back to redeem Israel from the captivity that we're in. Read on.
But of that day and that hour knoweth no man.
No man knows the time. This time the Most High didn't give us a time period. But he knows. He didn't even tell Yahushua. So anytime you hear anybody talk about when it's going to be that this day or that day, you know they're tripping.
Right.
Read on. Read on.
No, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father.
The angels don't know. The Mashiach Yahushua don't know. Only the Most High knows. And when the Most High said it's time, you get me Isaiah 66. You know what I'm talking about?
66 and 15.
Yeah, look at that.
Hold on. 66.
All that's prophesied to take place. Understand? But at the appointed time.
Okay, this is for the surname.
No.
Isaiah 66 and 15.
That's 65 and okay, hold on. Yeah, I was on
Yeah, what shot
66.
come out with
Okay, yes.
yeah.
Okay, I got it. I'm sorry, I was on 65.
Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 16. For by fire and by his sword.
Some 15.
Start at 15? 15. For behold, Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15. For behold, the Most High will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind,
That's an invasion right there. That's an invasion. Right? Most of them come what with fire. Because you know the first destruction was what? By flood. But this time what? It's gonna be with fire. Read on. With chariots, like a whirlwind. Read it again.
Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15. For behold, the Most High will come with fire.
With fire,
And with his chariots like a whirlwind.
The chariots like a whirlwind.
To render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
That's what the Most High is going to come back. To render his what? His anger. So what do you think is going to be a joyful day? Understand? But I just went there to show that I am. The Most High is going to come back just on the shadow. Just hasn't revealed yet to the Mashiach Yahushai or to the angels when that's going to be. You know?
16. For by fire and by his sword.
All right, go back to where you were.
Okay.
Exodus, right?
Exodus 12.
Yeah.
What was that, 40?
Yeah. Exodus 12 and 40.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Most High went out from the land of Egypt.
All the hosts. So Most High words never come to, all this come to pass. No prophecy of the Most High ever failed, man.
Alright.
After the 430 years, 400 of which was slavery, all the hosts of which were the nation of Israel, which dwelt in Goshen, the part of Egypt, left out of Egypt after the Most High plagued the Egyptians, the 10 plagues, and they slaughtered the firstborn of all the Egyptians, even down to the animals.
Oh, yeah.
Understand? That's what happened. And we all know, how the Passover came to be. The Moses said what? Make sure, after kill the Passover, which was a lamb without blemish, apply the blood of the lamb on the doorpost. So when the death angel would pass over, so the term came from, pass over as in literally fly by.
Right.
You see the blood, okay, you're good. But for those Israelites who say, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't got time, what happened to them?
Not so
They
good.
died with the Egyptians. So we went into Egypt in 1880. We spent 430 years. Do the math on that. So when did we come out? We went into Egypt 1880 BC. 1450, exactly. That's when we came out. Okay? Now give me Deuteronomy 7. Give me that. Deuteronomy 7.
Okay. 71.
Yeah.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1. When Yahweh thy power shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. And when the Most High thy power shall deliver them before thee, and thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them, that thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter thou shalt take unto thy son.
This land right here that we're reading about is land of Canaan. Understand? And as we read in early Deuteronomy 32:8, the Most High had reserved that land for the children of Israel. Even though we were not a nation yet, the Most High reserved that land for the children of Israel before we were even a nation of people. Just like the Most High told Abraham that your seed was going to be a stranger in a land that was not theirs and serve them for 400 years. The Most High is very futuristic, man. The Most High got plans for us that we can't even imagine. We should take comfort in that, knowing that regardless of what we're going through, there's going to be an end to it. And even though it's not our program, it's not our schedule. So most of our schedule. Read. So the Most High brought us out of Egypt in 1450 BC. After us staying there for 430 years. And then we walked through the wilderness for 40 years. So when did we actually go into the promised land? 1410 BC. Alright, 1410 BC. Give me 1 Kings 6:1. And of course, initially, the Most High gave us what? Judges. Before we had kings, we had what?
Judges.
Judges. That was the structure of our government. Judges, when the Most High, of course, the word judges means what? They had to be versed in the law, right? They had to know the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. That didn't mean that we had the Levites who were in charge of the ceremonies and the teaching of the laws and so on and so forth. But the judges now were like the government, the structure of the government, and it's the hierarchy of the government. All the 12 tribes and the territories are a structure of judges that that the people would go to when they had disputes and they need clarification in certain matters, so-called legal matters. That's who they would go to. But our people, true to form, stiff-necked and rebellious as they were, they didn't appreciate that. They wanted to rule. They wanted to be governed by what? Kings, just like the other nations. Not accepting how special they were to be the only ones to have judges that was totally connected to the Most High. They want to be like the give me Proverbs 12:26. They want to be like the other nations. Proverbs 12:26.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 12 and verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor, but the way of the wicked seduces them.
Right. The righteous be not, but with Israel, we're more excellent than our neighbors. Why were we excellent? Because we got the Most High. We were excellent and righteous because we had the Most High. We had the laws, statutes, and commandments. Give me a Romans 3.
3-1?
3-1. Why were we excellent? Because we were special. Because we were what? Chosen. Because what? We had the Bible. We had the oracles. We had the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, and the punishment thereof for the transgression of those laws, statutes, and commandments. Romans 3. Read on.
Romans chapter 3 What advantage then hath the Jew?
What advantage? Are we all equal?
No.
We had an advantage. And even to this day, we have an advantage over the other nation, even though, hey, they're ruling. And then they're excelling financially and economically and all that, politically and all that. But yes, we have an advantage over them. Read.
What advantage then hath the Jew?
What advantage do we have?
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
What profit is there in circumcision? Is there a profit in being the Hebrew Israelites? Is there an advantage in us being Hebrew Israelites? Yes, there is. Read on.
Much every way.
Much every way. Just in any way you can think of. We have an advantage over the other nations. We don't see it right now because what? You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, what the Most High what futuristic. We can't be short-sighted in this thing, man. 400 years we served the Egyptians. The Most High ordained it that way before the Israelites were even born, before they were even a nation. So why we consider it abnormal that we're serving the other nations? Are we at the bottom of the totem pole for so long? We got to look at the future. Look at the future and how we are going to be ruling them for what? Ever. Literally forever. There will never be another time when the nations going to excel us. This is our last captivity. This is the last go around.
Hallelujah.
Understand? Read on. So we have this advantage, taking comfort in the scriptures, the closeness that we have in keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, and the connection that brings us to the Most High. Read on.
Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of Yah. For what if some did not believe?
Chiefly because unto us were committed. So when something is committed to you, what does that mean? You can't deviate from you. It always pertains to you. It cannot be given to somebody else. Even though they pretend that it's theirs, and they lie to themselves unto the world that is theirs. I know what I'm talking about, the so-called Jews. I know, deceiving the old world thinking that, hey, that they're the Jews, and it's, hey, we know it's ours. Mm-hmm. Chiefly that unto them it was committed to them. When somebody's committed, like in a relationship, it's not a fling. Mm-hmm. It's not a one-night stand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a commitment.
Right.
And when the Most High is committed to you, the Most High ain't going to deviate from you.
Okay.
The Most High got you.
Hallelujah.
You know what I'm saying? Chiefly unto us, the oracles were committed. And the oracle is talking about also what? Not just the laws, statutes, and commandments, but the whole Bible, the prophecies also. The prophecies also. Read.
For what if some did not believe?
I don't care if they believe. I don't care if they doubt it. That's their problem if they want to doubt it.
Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yah without effect?
Yeah, just because they don't believe that the Most High, the Mashiach is going to come back and redeem these so-called Negroes, what's in the Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Native Indians, because they doubt it, because they don't believe it, that means that it's not going to happen. They're like, what they believe is what they believe or don't believe is irrelevant. But the Most High says will come to pass. Read on.
Yahweh forbid. Yea, let the Most High be true. but every man a liar.
Most High forbid that the Most High be true and every man a liar. So everyone got their own opinion about this and that and so on and so forth. But under Most High's word will stand. Go back to where you were.
You're going to Exodus 1? Or
I
forgot what I was holding.
give me 1 Kings.
1 Kings? Okay.
1 Kings 6. We were most times we had judges initially as our rulers. We didn't want that, we rejected that. I mean, you can read the book of Samuel about that, or the complaint of Samuel that hey, you want kings to the other nations. And Samuel was so wroth and complained to the Moses. Moses said, you know what? Don't worry about this, Samuel. They're going to see the penalty of their ways. Okay, go back. Give me 1 Kings 6.
1 Kings chapter 6. And it came to pass in the 418th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land.
So we came out of Egypt in 1450, right? So right now we're in an era of time of 480 years after we came out of Egypt. So do the math on that again. 1450 and subtract what 480 from that. What do we have? 933, 930, somewhere around here. 939. 939. Do the math on that. 1450. I know your math is good.
I thought you meant the times.
Oh, you said the time.
Yeah, I just heard
1450.
It's time to leave Babylon. So that's all the time I know.
So we're talking about 970 BC.
God.
Okay? So that's where we're at. Okay, this is, fast forward from that time, from 1450, 480 years later, 970 BC. Read it again. 1 Kings 6.
1 Kings chapter 6. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt,
Which is now 970 BC. Read on.
in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel.
All right, so 970 BC was the 4th year of Solomon's reign. So what does that tell you? Solomon started ruling from when? 974 BC. Okay, something like that? Yeah. Okay. This was the 4th year of Solomon's reign. And of course, I don't go too much in the numbers. Just give me a general idea. But Solomon was the last king that ruled Israel, ruled a united nation of Israel for 40 years. Saul, David, which was Solomon's father, and Solomon, all those 3 kings ruled Israel for 40 years each. And they ruled a united Israel. You understand? So I want to go back and just give you an idea. The Solomon started ruling based in 974 BC. Okay, all right. And what happened during Solomon's reign? Read it again from the top. 1 Kings 6.
1 Kings chapter 6. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign.
In the 4th year of Solomon's reign, read on, 974 BC, read on, 970 BC, read on.
Over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Most High.
Yeah, now, so Solomon started building the temple of the Most High. Because, David wanted to build the temple of the Most High. Moses said, you start quite a few people too much done in your hand, but I like his son build a temple. Okay?
That's a great one.
Okay. So Solomon started building the temple in the fourth year of his reign, which is 974 BC. 970 BC rather. Read on.
And the house which King Solomon built for the Most High, the length thereof was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits.
Right, so that's giving them like a
measurement,
the dimensions of the
dimensions,
length, width, and height of the temple. Now jump to verse 37.
Okay, skipping over 37. And the fourth year was the foundation of the house of the Most High laid in the month Ziph.
The fourth year of Solomon's reign. The foundation, you gotta have a foundation, right? And you're building the foundations. The foundation of the house was laid in the fourth year of Solomon's reign. Read on.
And in the 11th year, in the month Bull, which is the 8th year.
In the 11th year,
month.
7 years later. Read on.
And in the 11th year, in the month Bull, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof.
Right. So what did it take? Completion. How long did it take to build the house? The temple? How long did it take to build the temple of the Most High?
11.
No. Remember that he started building in the fourth year.
Fourth year.
All right.
Okay.
Started building in the fourth year and finished in the 11th year.
And a completion of 7.
7 years. Took 7 years to build the temple. And done. Understand? So took 7 years to build the temple of the Amashikawsha. The temple of the Most High, temple of Israel. So with Solomon was the third king to rule a united nation of Israel. And he ruled for 40 years. After his death, the king was divided. Can I see a map up there?
This one? Or this one?
Yeah, okay. That's good. Right. So we should be one with maybe like Egypt too. But something maybe that we just treat us coming out of Egypt, like the Red Sea, anything like that. Yeah. So we came out of Egypt through the Red Sea, and the path we took. We traveled from the west to the east to go back west. Egypt proper, leaving Israelites leaving. Okay, all right, that's probably good. See, leaving Egypt. Another one. Okay, alright, we see that. Okay, land of Goshen. This is where we were, land of Goshen. Okay, which is northeast Egypt. Land of Goshen, northeast Egypt. You see the Red Sea right here. The Red Sea, the Egyptians were ordered for us. The Moses, fish put the rod to divide the Red Sea. We walked through in dry land. Walked through on dry land. What is the road?
It's to Arabia. That's what it says.
This is Mount Sinai down here.
That's
Yeah.
Mount Sinai.
Right, that is, yeah. Alright, see that? Come all the way down to, yeah. Yeah, this is a road like that. Okay, what over to the south? Mount Sinai, right? We passed by Edom's territory. I don't say that in map because this one is kind of choppy. You see this? Amalek also. That's the nation of people passed by. Most of about Amalek. Don't forget Amalek. Talk about forgive and forget. Most of don't forget what Amalek did. So Amalek passed by Amalek territory, Edom's territory. It was said, you know what? We offer you money. We offer you money for food and water. And say hell no. You know what I mean? Then they attacked us. All these different nations. We have to fight quite a few nations of people before we actually get into our homeland.
Right.
So you don't have
You know, block up the road.
It's gonna be rough. I'm gonna, what time is it now? 10 to 10?
Yeah, 10 to 10.
So I just went over that, like a summary of how, like I said, we became a nation of people. 70 souls of Jacob went into Egypt for 400 years, 430 years, came out. I go back to Exodus, and let me see how many of us came out. Exodus 12, let me see.
12 and on 40 or 12 and 1?
Let me see something.
37.
12
and 40.
Yeah, 12:40.
12 and 40?
Yeah, they'll finish off with that, yeah.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 12 and verse 40. Now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the self-same day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Most High went out from the land of Egypt.
All the hosts of the Most High went out of the land of Egypt. Read on.
It is a night to be much observed unto the Most High for bringing them out from the land of Egypt.
Right. So it is a night to be much observed. And we are going to be observing that. Most High willing. Next week this time. Next week this time we're going to be observing it. Commemorating that. Our departure out of the captivity out of Egypt. Read on.
This is the night of the Most High to be observed of all the children of Israel in their generations. And the Most High said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is brought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof.
Right, so a stranger could just roll up in a congregation and say, oh, you want to keep the Passover with you, but if that stranger now was someone that we possessed, we bought with money. That's a stranger to a servant of an Israelite, and if they're circumcised, then they could eat the Passover with us. Read on.
A foreigner and hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one's house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth out of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall ye break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. And when the stranger shall sojourn with thee, and will keep the Passover to the Most High, let all his males be circumcised, and then let him come near and keep it. And he shall be as one that is born in the land, for no uncircumcised person shall eat thereof.
Continue.
Yeah, so that's how it was. No uncircumcised person shall eat the Passover. That's what the Most High decreed, and only the person within the nation who was a servant of an Israelite that purchased that person with their own money could eat of the Passover. And the Most High willing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Most High willing.
God.
Next week this time, we're gonna be observing the Passover.
Hallelujah. Yes.
Okay. Even though right now we're doing that, but the scripture tells us that in the future, let me get it. Jeremiah 30. Let me wrap it up with that.
Start at 1.
Let me see what I'm trying to get.
Okay.
Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 14.
Oh, 16, 14? Yeah, 16, 14. You know what I'm looking for, Dr. Man. There's a new talk in the town. We're going to be talking about this in a more.
Oh, okay.
Jeremiah 16, 14.
Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
You know something? That's what I'm talking. That's why I'm saying the Most High is futuristic. Right now, the Most High said we should come and read the Passover, but at the same time, the Most High let you know, beyond that, there's going to be a time when we ain't going to be talking about the overcame out of Egypt anymore. Why is that? We're going to be talking about how we came out of this modern day Egypt. And that's going to what? Supersede what? You know what I mean? Overshadow. They ain't going to be the talk about the town anymore. This over departure from this land, these lands, this captivity, this modern day Egypt. Now, it's going to be so dramatic. That's going to be the talk of the town. That's what we're going to be talking about going forward in the kingdom. You know what I mean? We ain't going to be talking about how we came out of Egypt to the Red Sea anymore. We're going to be talking about how we came out of this modern day Egypt. All that let you know that what? And this is the same prophet. Just like the Most High prophesied that to Jeremiah that we're going to be in Babylon for 70 years. He's also prophesied to Jeremiah that we're what? That we're going to be coming from this modern day Babylon. Read it again. Jeremiah 16, 14.
Jeremiah chapter 16 and verse 14. Therefore,
you can take the knock down.
Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that it shall no more be said, the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
No. But what?
But the Most High liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
That's right.
And from all the lands whether he had driven them.
And I know what that means. Is this talking about everybody? Is this talking about everybody? Did everybody come out of Egypt with Moses? No. There was a few strangers there who clung on to us. This is they're going to be strangers who cling on to us when we leave. But this is talking about specifically the nation of Israel. But the Lord liveth. So why do people believe that all nations are going to be saved? One of the things that the Israelites have done away with. That ain't what the prophecy is saying right here. It's saying all right here, what's going to happen to Israel. Not Israel and the other nations, but Israel. Read on.
And from all the lands whither he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their land.
Whose land? Their land. Did the Most High give us a land? The Most High gave us a land. And the land is the same land that the Most High gave to us. It's not a new land. It's not Ethiopia. It's not another place. The same land that the Most High gave to us. The same land that the Most High designated to us. Like we read in Deuteronomy 32:8.
Right. And we divided
before
the nation.
before we were even a nation.
Right.
So the Most High gave us a land before we were even a nation. What makes you think that homeland is going to be someplace else?
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're going to have the dominion all over the earth, but that's going to be so to speak, our headquarters. Just like LOC, we got the headquarters on here. You have a location there, so. Read on.
Their land that I gave unto their fathers.
That's the land the Most High gave to our forefathers. Read on.
Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Most High.
What do fishers do? Fisher people. We are the fishers of the Most High right now. When we go and teach, we're fishing for our people to bring it back into the fold. Read on.
And they shall fish them. And afterward I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. For mine eyes are upon all their ways. They are not hid from my face, neither is their iniquity hid from my eyes.
The Most High is watching us, man. We're not hid from the Most High, but and the Most High knows our iniquities too. So the Most High knows, who should be rewarded and who should be punished. Read on.
And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land. They have filled my inheritance with the carcass of the detestable and abominable things.
So that I'm going to conclude right there. The Most High willing. And the brothers are going to get ready to go to camp to edify the Most High's people in the street teaching. And tomorrow also, brothers are going to congregate right here, right? So, for the invasion. Don't forget tomorrow, the Most High with Chief Minister Shalom is going to continue the Shabbat service at 12 noon. We are at 2937 West Broad Boulevard. To water everyone for logging in. But so much don't forget, Most High willing, Passover next week, next Friday. But so much next Friday. We in high school, but you know what I'm saying? Most High willing, next Friday is going to be the next Shabbat. It's going to pass up. But so much go shot. Alright, Mariam Wapanya, Yarashlam, Son of Face Jerusalem. Psalms 133. Shayar, Hama Ailwa, Ladawad, Ana, Tawab, Wama, Naayam, Shabbat, Akyam, Gam, Yakad, Kashaman, Atawab, Araash, Yarad, Azapan, Aharan, Shayarad, Paya, Karawatua, Kato, Karamwan, Shayarad, Auraria, Sazawan, Aya,
Shem,
Tazawa,
Tazawa,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Abarakah,
Abarakah,
Kayawam,
Kayawam,
I, Awalam,
Ayalam,
Bahasham,
Bahashem,
Hamashiach,
Hamashiach,
Yahushua,
Yahushua, the one,
Aman.
Amen. Hallelujah. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessings, even life forevermore. Bahashem Hamashiach Yahushai, the one of them Yad, Amen. Hallelujah.